You turn the key, engine cranks, but nothing happens. Just that hollow spinning sound and the sinking feeling that this is going to cost you big time. Most mechanics charge $150 just to diagnose this problem, then another $500 to $2,000 to fix it. But here's what they won't tell you. There's a systematic way to diagnose this yourself in your driveway using the exact same process that professional mechanics use. I'm about to show you how to save hundreds of dollars and give you the confidence to either fix this yourself or walk into any shop knowing exactly what's wrong with your car. If you're tired of getting ripped off by repair shops and want to learn real automotive knowledge that puts money back in your pocket, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel has already saved our viewers thousands of dollars in unnecessary repairs, and we release professional level car care education every single week. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 4 systems that control engine starting, know which sensors can shut down your engine, and have a proven diagnostic flowchart that eliminates guesswork. Let's dive right in. Before we diagnose anything, let's clarify what we're dealing with, because this completely changes our approach. No crank, no start means your engine doesn't turn over at all. That's usually a battery, starter, or electrical problem. Crank, no start, which is our focus today, means your engine is turning over but won't fire. You hear it cranking, you feel the starter working, but no combustion happens. Here's why this distinction matters so much. If your engine cranks, you've already eliminated several expensive problems, your battery has sufficient power, your starter motor functions, and your charging system likely works. That's actually good news because it narrows our diagnostic field significantly, and that's how we save time and money. For your engine to start, 4 things must happen simultaneously. Think of it as a recipe. Where missing any ingredient ruins the entire dish. First, air. Your engine needs adequate airflow. If the throttle body is clogged or there's a major vacuum leak, combustion can occur. Second, fuel. The fuel system must deliver gasoline at correct pressure, typically 30 to 60 psi for most vehicles, directly into the combustion chambers. Third, spark. The ignition system must fire at precisely the right moment. Without proper spark timing, there's no ignition. And fourth, compression. Your cylinders must create adequate pressure, usually 125 to 175 psi, to support combustion. Our diagnostic job is systematically testing each system to find which one is failing. Professional mechanics follow this exact sequence because it prevents replacing parts you don't need, and that's where the real money savings come from. When you understand this systematic approach, you stop guessing and start diagnosing like a pro. Step 1. Scan for diagnostic trouble codes. Every diagnostic process starts here. Plug in an OBD2 scanner. For vehicles 1996 and newer, this $30 to $100 tool reads fault codes stored in your engine computer. These are digital breadcrumbs pointing directly to your problem. Even without a check engine light, there may be stored codes waiting to give you the answer. Here are the most common crank, no start codes I see in the field. P0335 indicates a crankshaft position sensor malfunction. P0171 points to a fuel system lean condition. P0336 shows a crankshaft position sensor range issue. P0505 reveals an idle air control system malfunction. And P1626 means your anti-theft system is engaged. Write down all codes before clearing them. And here's a pro tip that most people miss. Check for pending or history codes in your scanner menu. These often reveal intermittent problems that haven't triggered the check engine light yet. If you get sensor-related codes like P0335 or P0336, you've likely found your problem. The crankshaft position sensor is one of the top 3 causes of crank no start conditions, and it's a $40 part that shops charge $300 to replace. Step 2. Test for spark. Testing spark is fast, safe, and immediately tells us if ignition is working. Why test spark first? Because without ignition, even perfect fuel delivery and compression won't start your engine. You need a spark tester. About $12 from any parts store. This is honestly one of the best diagnostic investments you can make. Safety first, though. Disconnect your fuel pump relay to prevent any fire hazard while testing. It's usually in your fuse box under the hood. Here's the testing procedure. Step 1. Locate the spark plug wire on cylinder 1. Different ignition systems look different, but the concept is identical. Step 2. Remove the spark plug wire and connect your spark tester. Ground the tester clip to bare metal on your engine block. Step 3. Have someone crank the engine while you observe the tester window. If you see a bright blue or white spark, your ignition system works. Move on to fuel testing. If you see no spark or weak yellow spark, you have an ignition problem. Now here's where it gets specific based on your vehicle type. For coil unplug systems, which are most vehicles from 2000 and newer, you're looking at bad ignition coil packs that cost $80 to $150 to do yourself versus $300 to $500 at a shop. You might have a faulty coil driver in the engine computer, or most commonly, crankshaft position sensor failure. For distributor systems, which are pre-2000 vehicles, you're dealing with bad distributor cap and rotor that cost $25 to $40 to do yourself versus $150 to $200 at a shop. You might have a worn ignition coil inside the distributor, or a bad pickup coil, or magnetic sensor. Here's the critical insight that saves people hundreds of dollars. The crankshaft position sensor tells your engine computer when to fire the spark plugs. This sensor fails on high-mileage vehicles and causes thousands of crank no-start conditions annually. Shops charge $250 to $350 for replacement, but the part only costs $40 to $60. Step 3. Verify fuel delivery. Here's a quick test to determine if fuel is your culprit. Spray starting fluid into the air intake while cranking the engine. If the engine fires briefly, then dies, you've confirmed a fuel system problem. Your spark and compression work, but fuel delivery has failed. If the engine still won't fire, fuel isn't the issue, so continue with the diagnostics. Now for proper fuel pressure testing, locate your fuel rail test port. Your repair manual shows the exact location, but it's typically on the fuel rail near the engine. Connect a fuel pressure gauge to this port. Turn the ignition to on without starting, and the fuel pump will prime building pressure. Compare your reading to specifications. Most vehicles run 30 to 60 psi. High-performance engines might run 80 to 100 psi. Check your manual for exact specifications because this varies by vehicle. Zero pressure means fuel pump failure, blown fuse or relay, or a wiring problem. Low pressure indicates a weak fuel pump or clogged fuel filter. Correct pressure but no start means your fuel injectors aren't pulsing. Let me break down the real-world cost here because this is where you can save serious money. Fuel pump failure affects about 30% of crank no-start cases. At a shop, you're looking at $600 to $800 total. Doing it yourself costs $150 to $200 for the pump. You save $400 to $600 right there. Fuel filter replacement runs $150 to $300 at a shop, but only costs $25 to $50 if you do it yourself. You save $100 to $250. Fuel injector issues cost $300 to $600 at a shop, but only $80 to $150 per injector if you handle it yourself. You save $200 to $450. Here's what shops don't tell you. Fuel pump replacement on many vehicles is actually DIY friendly. You access it through the rear seat or trunk panel with no need to drop the fuel tank. That one insight can save you $500 in labor costs. Step 4. Check air intake system. The air system gets overlooked, but it absolutely can prevent starting. Here's a diagnostic trick that works every time. Press the gas pedal completely to the floor, hold it there while cranking the engine. If the engine suddenly starts, you have air restriction confirmed. Your computer is essentially saying it needs more air to run, and full throttle provides enough to overcome the restriction. Common air system problems include a severely clogged air filter. When you compare a factory filter to a heavily contaminated aftermarket filter, the restriction can be severe enough to limit airflow significantly. Another issue is a carbon-caked throttle body. High-mileage vehicles accumulate carbon inside the throttle body, preventing proper throttle plate operation during starting. On older vehicles, you might have a stuck idle air control valve. This valve allows extra air during cold starts, and when it's stuck closed, starting becomes impossible. The good news is that most air system problems are cleaning issues, not replacement needs. A can of throttle body cleaner for $6 and a soft brush for $2 often solve the problem completely. Total cost is under $10. Time required is 20 to 30 minutes. Shop charge runs $150 to $250. You save $140 to $240 with about half an hour of work. Step 5. Test compression when needed. If you have spark, fuel, and air but still no start, compression is likely the problem. I'll be honest with you, this usually means serious engine damage. Here's a quick auditory test that can save you time. Listen to the cranking speed. An engine with low compression cranks abnormally fast, like it's spinning with no resistance. For proper compression testing, you'll need to remove all spark plugs and thread a compression tester into the first cylinder. Disable the fuel and ignition systems, then crank the engine 5 to 6 times while watching the gauge. Normal compression runs 125 to 175 psi, but this varies by engine. Here's what your readings mean. Low compression on all cylinders indicates a broken timing belt or chain. The camshafts aren't rotating properly. Low compression on adjacent cylinders points to a blown head gasket between cylinders. Low compression on a single cylinder suggests a bent valve or worn piston rings in that specific cylinder. Reality check time. Compression problems require major engine work, typically $2,000 to $5,000 in professional repair costs. At this point, you need to evaluate whether the repair cost exceeds your vehicle's value. Step 6. Sensor and computer system verification. Modern engines run on information. Dozens of sensors feed data to your engine computer, and if critical sensors fail, the computer shuts down fuel and spark as protection. Let me cover the critical sensors that prevent starting. The crankshaft position sensor is the most critical. This sensor tells your computer the exact crankshaft position. Without this signal, no ignition timing or fuel injection occurs. Here's how to test it. Use your OBD2 scanner's live data function while cranking. If the RPM reading stays at 0 during cranking, your crankshaft position sensor has failed. The camshaft position sensor is another important one. On many vehicles, the computer won't start without confirming camshaft position timing. The throttle position sensor can also cause problems. A malfunctioning TPS can trigger flood clear mode, where the computer stops commanding fuel injectors as a safety measure. Don't forget about the mass airflow sensor. This measures incoming air volume, and the computer uses this data to calculate fuel injection amounts. A severely dirty or failed MAF prevents starting. Here's a quick test. Disconnect the MAF sensor connector. If the engine starts, your MAF is faulty. Modern vehicles also have anti-theft system issues to consider. These immobilizer systems can disable fuel and ignition if they don't recognize your key. Look for a security light flashing on your dashboard during start attempts. Common codes include P1626, which indicates immobilizer communication failure. Cost breakdown for these repairs shows where you can save money. Crankshaft sensor replacement costs $40 to $80 if you do it yourself versus $250 to $350 at a shop. MAF sensor cleaning requires $8 worth of cleaner versus $150 to $200 at a shop. Key programming runs $150 to $300 at a dealer, which is unfortunately unavoidable. Here's your systematic approach that eliminates guesswork. Step 1. Scan for codes and address sensor codes first. Step 2. Test for spark. No spark means check ignition components and crankshaft position sensor. Step 3. Verify fuel pressure. Low or no pressure means test the pump, filter, and relay. Step 4. Check air intake. Restriction means clean the throttle body and replace the filter. Step 5. Test compression. Low compression means prepare for major engine work. Step 6. Verify sensors using live data scanning for confirmation. The most expensive mistake people make is replacing components without proper diagnosis. You might replace a $200 ignition coil when your actual problem is a $45 crankshaft sensor. Following this sequence prevents that costly error and saves hundreds in unnecessary parts replacement. Here are some professional insights that separate the pros from the parts changers. Temperature-related failures mean some sensors work when cold but fail when hot. So test during normal operating temperature. Intermittent problems occur when codes point to a sensor, but testing shows good results. The problem may be wiring connections or poor grounds. These advanced diagnostics separate professionals from parts changers and save you from expensive misdiagnosis. Let me show you what you actually save by learning this diagnostic process. The diagnostic fee alone runs $100 to $150 at any shop. Here are common repair comparisons between shop and DIY costs. Fuel pump replacement costs $600 to $800 at a shop, but only $150 to $200 if you do it yourself. That's $400 to $600 in savings. Ignition system repair runs $300 to $500 at a shop versus $80 to $150 doing it yourself. You save $200 to $350. Sensor replacement costs $200 to $350 at a shop, but only $40 to $80 for DIY. That's $120 to $270 in savings. Throttle body service runs $150 to $250 at a shop versus $8 to $15 doing it yourself. You save $135 to $235. The empowerment factor here is huge. You now possess the same diagnostic knowledge that professional mechanics use. This doesn't just fix your current problem, it prepares you for any future starting issue. Instead of paying for someone else's knowledge, you've invested in your own, and this skill pays dividends for life. You now have the complete diagnostic framework for crank no-start conditions. We covered the 4 combustion requirements, walked through systematic testing procedures, and provided real-world cost analysis. This knowledge doesn't just solve today's problem, it transforms you from someone who gets taken advantage of into someone who makes informed decisions about their vehicle. Here's what I need from you. If this video saved you money or gave you the confidence to diagnose your car, smash that thumbs up button. Your engagement tells YouTube that real people found real value here. Subscribe to Car Care Simplified and hit the notification bell. We release professional-level automotive education every week, diagnostic guides, maintenance secrets, and repair walkthroughs that put money back in your pocket. Comment below and tell me what your diagnosis revealed. Did you find the problem? Which system was causing your crank no start? Your experience helps our entire community learn and save money. Next week, we're covering how to clean oxygen sensors the right way. This simple maintenance procedure can fix check engine lights, improve fuel economy, and save you hundreds in unnecessary sensor replacements. You won't want to miss it.